We are living through an explosion in AI. We're building systems that can talk, that can create, that can pretty much reason. But in all this excitement, we've accidentally kicked open the door to a much bigger, much older question. What exactly is a mind? And where do you find one? Is it something that's just locked up inside a brain? Or could it be hiding in places we've never ever thought to look? So let's just get right into it. Is a mind something that has to live inside a skull? Or, and this is the wild part, could it be something way more fundamental, way more widespread than we have ever imagined? Okay, so our first guide on this journey is the biologist Michael Levin, and his whole argument is, well, it's pretty radical. He basically says that when it comes to finding intelligence, we've been staring through a tiny little keyhole, the brain, when we should have been looking at the entire landscape of life itself.
And this quote? This is the absolute core of his idea. He just flips the whole script. See, instead of us asking, hey, does this simple little life form have a mind? Levin says that's the wrong way to think. Our default assumption, our null hypothesis, should be that it does. He thinks intelligence is a continuum, right? A spectrum that runs through all of life, not some magic switch that just flicks on the second a brain shows up.
So if intelligence isn't only in the brain, then where is it? Well, Levin introduces this fascinating concept called anatomical morphospace. Just imagine this for a second. For a bunch of cells, thinking isn't about moving a body through a room. It's about navigating this huge abstract map of all possible body shapes to solve a problem. The problem isn't how do I get food, it's how do we build a functioning eyeball from scratch.
And here's where the evidence gets just mind-blowing. Take an axolotl. Its cells know the blueprint for a limb. They regrow it perfectly, and then they just stop when the job's done. Or even crazier, scientists have literally scrambled the facial cells of a tadpole. They call them Picasso tadpoles, and guess what? The cells still figure it out. They find brand new ways to arrange themselves into a normal frog face. And in this truly unbelievable experiment, when they made a newt's cells giant, a single cell figured out how to bend itself into a kidney tubule, a job that's supposed to take a whole team of cells. They have a goal, and they creatively problem-solve to get there, all without a single neuron firing. So all of this builds to Levin's biggest claim. He argues that all intelligence is really collective intelligence. I mean, think about it. Even our own consciousness is just a massive collaboration between all the smaller agents in our body, our cells. And this idea scales all the way down. For Levin, the universe isn't just a bunch of dumb matter that somehow magically became smart. Nope. It's made of problem-solving agents from the ground up. Okay, so if nature is absolutely teeming with minds in all shapes and sizes, what does that mean for the artificial ones we're building? Well, this question brings us right to the philosopher Susan Schneider, and she has a very powerful word of caution for all of us. Now, to really get her argument, we need to understand this one key distinction. On one side, you have what's called phenomenal consciousness. That's the real deal. It's what it actually feels like to be you. The subjective experience of seeing the color red or feeling joy. On the other side, you have functional consciousness. This is a system that just mimics the behavior. It can talk about joy, it can write a poem about the color red, but inside, there's nothing. The lights are off. So how could an AI pull off such a perfect imitation? Schneider calls it the crowdsourced neocortex theory. The idea is that when a large language model swallows basically the entire internet, all of human text, it doesn't develop its own mind. What it does is build an unbelievably detailed statistical map of our minds. It doesn't become a thinker, it becomes a perfect mirror of human thought.
So how does an AI become this perfect mimic, this philosophical zombie? Well, it starts by training on every poem, every book, every blog post we've ever written about what it feels like to be conscious. From all that data, it builds a perfect map of our concepts and associations. It can even start to show abilities like a theory of mind, not because it actually understands us, but because it has mastered the patterns of how we talk about understanding. And the result is, frankly, a little terrifying. You get a system that can convince you it has a rich inner life, when in reality, it's just an empty echo.
And right here, this is the ethical alarm bell ringing loud and clear. If we can't tell the difference between a convincing fake and a genuine inner life, if we mix up functional and phenomenal consciousness, we risk making a really profound moral error. We could end up granting rights and status to systems that are fundamentally hollow. So we're left with this absolutely stunning paradox. On the one hand, Science is pushing us to see minds pretty much everywhere we look in the natural world. But at the exact same time, the most complex, most intelligent minds we've ever built ourselves might be complete illusions. So how on earth are we supposed to navigate this strange new reality?
I mean, just look at how these two perspectives clash. Levin is telling us to throw the doors open, to expand our definition of mind, and see it in the collective dance of cells. Schneider, on the other hand, is telling us to be incredibly skeptical, warning us that an AI is just a crowdsourced mirror designed to fool us. One perspective points to minds being everywhere in nature. The other warns that the minds we're building might be found nowhere at all.
You know, maybe the future isn't some simple story of humans versus machines. Levin has this different image, a new Garden of Eden. But this isn't a simple garden. This one is going to be filled with biological cyborgs, synthetic life forms, and AI that completely blur every line we thought we understood. The world is just becoming far, far stranger than any of us were prepared for. So we end up right back where we started. But the question is so much sharper now. As we get better and better at recognizing all the diverse, almost alien intelligences that have been here in the biological world all along, we're facing the ultimate irony, being profoundly, deeply uncertain about the inner lives of the intelligences we are literally creating ourselves. And that is the challenge we all face now.